was first released in select theaters November 28, 1986. Now, all throughout the 80s, and especially through the mid-80s, there was a non-stop barrage of action movies. And this movie fits comfortably right alongside of them. However, this movie did not get the mainstream spotlight that its other action movie counterparts did. That's more than likely because this movie is sort of terrible. But that is precisely why people love it so much nowadays. Yes, it's a vengeance movie with a totally absurd plot, ridiculous action, and even more ridiculous dialogue. And even though it's not a comedy, you will find yourself laughing at this a lot. In recent years, it has gained a cult following and is very beloved by its fans, who describe it as a grade A B movie, which translates into a grade A piece of shit. Now, is that a fair description of this movie? Well, yes and no. Especially when you compare it to stuff like Commando, which was released in theaters October 4th, 1985, and is regarded as a Schwarzenegger classic. And aside from some differences, this is basically the same movie as Eye of the Tiger. Or rather, Eye of the Tiger is basically the same movie as Commando, since Commando came out before Eye of the Tiger. But why is one considered a classic and the other is, well, isn't considered a classic? I mean, think about it. Commando has ridiculous dialogue, absolutely absurd action, and a plot line that is, well, basic at best. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger is trying to save a kidnapped Alyssa Milano so she can make it to her Who's the Boss audition in time. Okay, that's not exactly what happens, but it might as well be, and would it really matter if it was? And say what you want to about Eye of the Tiger, at least it doesn't feature one of the main villains having a girly freakout at the end. Yeah, what is the deal with Bennett's breakdown at the end? I mean, is no one going to talk about this? So what is the contrast between the perceptions of both of these movies? In my opinion, the money behind the productions and the marketing. The marketing behind Commando allowed it to be perceived as a good movie, and though I enjoy it very much, it simply is not. And on its face, really isn't any better than Eye of the Tiger, which many people believe is a terrible movie, myself included. But it's endearing, it's fun, and you watch action movies just for the fun of it. What's interesting is to think that the people behind Eye of the Tiger really thought they were making the next action movie sensation. Just goes to show you that you never know how your movie's gonna turn out, or how the public is going to perceive it. But at least they tried to make the next action movie sensation, and by gum, you really can't blame them for that. I mean, you could, but you would be a tremendous asshole. Eye of the Tiger, to no one's surprise, was only released once on VHS. It was released in 1987 by USA Home Video, and since this movie is a cult favorite, surely this VHS must be worth a lot of money. Surely. Well, I'm not exactly sure what it's worth, but it certainly doesn't go for very much nowadays. Around 14 buckaroonies seems to be the average going price, which is fairly cheap considering what it is, and it's also odd considering what it is. Because usually, if a movie is a cult favorite or has any kind of subversive notoriety, its VHS will be highly sought after and therefore hard to find and expensive. But not this. If you search Eye of the Tiger VHS, you will find plenty of listings, along with plenty of listings for Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger VHS, which is a pretty decent film. In fact, I think a lot of people sleep on these Sinbad movies, but let's not forget, the Sinbad movies were the Star Wars movies of their time. Well, in a manner of speaking. But we're not talking about these Sinbad movies, and we're certainly not going to talk about these Sinbad stand-up specials. We're talking about Gary Busey! Gary Busey! Gary Busey! Gary Busey!
Watch the full episode here, as well as other classic Captain Adams VHS pirate ship adventures. And please hit subscribe.